I have a very exciting announcement, but first. Hey, hi, hello, and welcome back to another vlog. If you're new here, my name is Melanie Steele and I write all things cozy. My latest non-fiction release, the Cozy Living Collection, is out now, and my debut cozy fantasy novel is coming out in autumn 2025. Now, if you have been following me here for a while or over on Instagram, you probably know what this announcement is going to be, but it is exciting nonetheless. And the announcement is the Lunar Quartz Library is finished. It is done. The only thing left is a final proofread, but everything else absolutely done. All the edits, revisions, redrafting. It is good to go and it feels so good. Now obviously it's not the first book I've ever published, but this is my first novel, and obviously writing a novel is different to writing non-fiction. For one, it's a lot longer than any of my non-fiction, and you know that in itself means it took a lot longer. I was thinking back to the timeline for writing this book. I should have looked at it in my Scrivener, but we're gonna wing it. So I started planning this book this time last year. I spent a good month doing my plan. One, because I was writing a fantasy and I had a whole world to build, and it's my first novel and I've never written fantasy before. I knew I would need time to really flesh out this world, what I wanted to do, the magic system, how that was going to work. I knew that if I didn't have this very solid foundation of world building, that actually trying to write the story was going to be so much harder. So a good portion of that time was spent just developing the world and the magic system. And then obviously we got into outlining the story and the characters and things like that. So I spent a good 4 to 6 weeks doing that, just to give myself the best possible chance of having a really solid outline to work with, and to basically use that to try and work through drafting in a much easier way, rather than having to come up with everything on the fly, because I'm definitely not a pantser. I like to discover things as I write for sure, but I need to have some idea of where this is going, or I will just end up feeling stuck. And I know this because I've definitely had times during the writing of this novel where I have felt that way, even with a plan. I started writing it last November, but I was working at the time, part-time, and by December that job was very, very busy, and I basically took the whole of last December off because I just could not concentrate on writing. After I had done that job, it was too busy. After Christmas the job settled down and I was able to pick up writing again, and then sort of a few months into that I left that job, which was fantastic, and got to do this full time. And essentially from sort of January till end of September, so a good 9 months I would say, I have spent working on this novel, from drafting, redrafting, editing, all of that. So it's just very exciting to be at the end of this process. Obviously I have really enjoyed writing this novel, but for the past few weeks I've just been in the headspace of, I want this done, I need this done, I need this to be out there, and just I need to move on to both the next story and just other projects in life, because this has very much been my life for a very long time, and I just need to find a little bit more balance going forward. I think it will be easier because obviously I've learned a lot about how I write, when I do my best work, when I recognize that I'm just done, I need to step away. I've learned a lot of things, which I will be probably putting into a Tuesday topic video at some point in writing this book, that will certainly help me going forward, writing book number 2. to hopefully get that done in a short period of time now that I don't have any other job outside the home, and to kind of do it in a way that works with what I've learned about myself. So I am excited to both get this book out into the world and to move on to book number 2. So yes, it is done, and I know you're all thinking now, when is it coming out? Well, I have a date in mind and I'm committing to, but I am going to be sharing that date exclusively for the first time with my newsletter subscribers. So if you want to know that date before everyone else, go subscribe to my newsletter down below. You'll get the first chapter of the Lunar Quartz Library for free in exchange for your lovely email address. And I will be emailing that publication date out, I think tomorrow actually. So basically get down there and get subscribed so you can get that information. Once it has been sent out to my newsletter subscribers, I will be putting it into my next vlog. So the one that you will see next Thursday, I will have the publication date in there, and then shortly after Instagram, because those are my 3 tiers of importance. People on my newsletter list are my most invested readers. People on YouTube are obviously also super excited to read about things. Instagram kind of comes in at the bottom, not because people don't care, it's a less involved platform for me. It's more of a casual kind of reader model over there. So yeah, long story short, go subscribe to the newsletter to learn when the Lunar Quartz Library is going to be published first. So aside from finishing the novel, which is of course a pretty epic achievement in itself, because most people who set out to actually write a novel don't finish. So yeah, I'm super proud of doing that. What else has been going on? If you follow me, you'll know I took a week off so that I could actually finish this novel, which I did. On the weekend, on Saturday, it was my birthday. So we headed up to Blenheim Palace at Oxford, and we have an annual pass, so it's just easy to go there. It's like not very far to drive at all. And we got to go on a tractor trailer tour, try saying that quickly, of the entire estate. Blenheim is a big palace and it's set in goodness knows how many acres of grounds that you would need a very long time to actually walk around. And during September and October, they were offering trailer tractor rides so that you could actually go around the whole estate and just see it without having to actually walk. And it was like £5 per person. So we signed up to do that, and that was really great. And I really enjoyed getting to see the entirety of the estate in a much less arduous way than having to walk it. We go to Blenheim quite a lot. It is one of our favourite places to go to, but we won't be going back now until Christmas. At Christmas, they basically just completely go to town on the palace. They have a theme every year for how it's decorated, and it really is like walking through a storybook. You go in and it's just absolutely beautiful and gorgeous. Last year's theme was Peter Pan, and it was so well done. They had like Tinkerbell kind of flittering these electronic street lights, and they had like the shadows of Wendy and whatnot when they were flying over. It was absolutely gorgeous. If you can get yourself to Oxfordshire, I would highly recommend going for Christmas. It is more expensive, but if you buy a ticket to go to the Christmas event, that also includes an annual pass. So if you're able to visit fairly regularly, I think you'd need 2 visits and you would basically break even on what you would have spent at Christmas. But this year's theme is Oz, so I assume that's because of the whole film with Ariana Grande. So yeah, I will be very much looking forward to that later in the year. But yeah, it was a lovely day out. And for my birthday, I did also get a present. Normally we just do experiences as opposed to presents, but my husband knew that I wanted this, and I'm going to basically flip the camera around and show you just now. it is this gorgeous pink monitor. I have been wanting to have a monitor set up for a while so that I'm not just here on my laptop, so I've got a bigger screen, and then I can have like either my work on this screen or one of those kind of cozy ambient lo-fi beat videos on YouTube, or whatever I want on that screen basically, just to give me more space to work with. And of course, with having a monitor, you also need a separate keyboard and mouse. I was having real trouble trying to find one that didn't have terrible reviews. I kind of searched pink keyboards and mechanical keyboards, mostly Amazon, I'll be honest, and the reviews were just shocking, or the prices were just way higher than I wanted. I didn't really want something that was super fancy and designed for gaming, which is, I get why they're quite expensive, because they are designed for that. Luckily, my bestie, she hooked me up. She sent me a link for a pink keyboard from Curry's that was both affordable and had great reviews, and I have just gotten back from there to pick it up. So I will show you just now. Let me grab it. It is this one, the Goji, like the berry, 3-in-1 wireless keyboard and mouse combo, and as you can see, it's this lovely shade of pink that's going to go really well with this monitor, the mat, the decor. It's gonna fit the aesthetic. I like the fact it's got a mouse mat as well. So I will be sorting this out later today to have it all set up for both proofreading my novel and just, you know, general computer use. Which brings me into what is next. Now, there is obviously another book coming. I do have this envisioned as a 4-book series, so I'm not going to drop too much more information, seeing as the first book isn't even out yet, but I will get to it in point. But in October, I have plans to do Preptober. And then in November, I want to join Sarah Cannon's Rough Draft Challenge. If you don't know who Sarah Cannon is, she is a very successful indie author of YA paranormal romance, and she has a whole channel here on YouTube called Heart Breathings, designed to help indie authors. And in response to the collapse of NaNoWriMo, National November Writing Month, she set up her own challenge and her own planner to help you kind of sort out what you're going to do both October and also actually doing the work in November. I basically sent this to Print Pond, who is a print on demand service. Highly recommended, so cheap. This planner is over 100 pages. The first page is colour, the rest is not, because obviously that's more expensive, but for over 100 pages, bound and with postage, which was free, £10, so much cheaper. I have seen people in the Heart Breathings Facebook group from across the pond who've been paying like $40 to get this printed. That's insane. I would never pay that much. Fortunately, print on demand just seems to be a lot cheaper here in the UK. And yeah, and it's got all the kind of things in here to help you get planned. There's like checklists and various things in here. You have planners you can fill in for meals. It's basically designed to help you outline a novel, and it also has daily calendar pages that you can fill in so that you stay on track. I'll just show you one. For example, November 19th, you have space here for what your intention for the day is, scenes you're writing, what you're loving about your story, etc. It's just a whole neatly packaged way to prep and write your novel, or however many words you want to write. I would never ever attempt to write 50,000 words in a month, even doing this full time. That just fills me with abject horror. That is not for me. So Sarah has different tiers and rewards, which are all named after crystals, which I love because of course I do. So you can choose anything from 10,000 to 100,000 words and beyond, and you get basically a certificate for whichever level you achieve. So maybe if you set out to do 25,000 words but you don't quite make it, and you can take the certificate for the level below, which is 10,000. There's a whole website where you can track it. So yeah, if that is something that you want to do in November, to write a novel or portion of a novel or a novella, any kind of writing project that you'd like to make a start in November, highly recommend the Rough Draft Diaries. If you go search Heart Breathings here on YouTube, you will find her channel and you will find the video for it. So that is going to be my October plan, is prepping the next book, and also just to do things like catch up on reading. I've been trying to fit in bits and pieces here and there in between writing. I made a start on one of the cozy fantasy novels I've been putting off, is this one. It is Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood. You can find her here on YouTube. I think she posts about once a month, and I know she's got videos all about how she came up with this book and got the trad publishing deal for it. This is the sprayed edge edition. So pretty. This is from Waterstones if you want to try and get your hands on this copy. But I am about halfway through. This is delightful and charming if you are into all things kind of bookshop and charming and cozy and witchy. Basically, if you're wanting to read my book, you will love this book. It is really well done. I'm enjoying the characters, and the lead character in this is just turning 30. So again, we have a slightly older protagonist as well, which I very much appreciated. I have many more cozy fantasy novels to get through on my bookshelf. So I will definitely be taking some time to just sit in my cozy armchair over here with a book and a cup of tea, and just to relax and enjoy throughout October. So October is basically just going to be a mix of me prepping and planning my next book, having some much needed reading time, and just generally having a little bit of a breather. And then in November, diving into book number 2, and obviously seeing how book number 1 is doing. Obviously, it's my first novel. I'm not like a super famous person or anything, so I'm not expecting, you know, crazy wild sales numbers or anything. Absolutely not. I am just happy that anybody would like to purchase it, really. I will be very pleased no matter what the outcome is. And obviously, the way to go with being an indie author is to write a series, because then people will start with book 1, they'll go to book 2, book 3, both from a readership and community building perspective, and obviously financial perspective. The money is in the series, so don't expect, you know, fantastic, amazing things from book 1. It's very much a build the momentum kind of path that you'll be following if you're an indie author doing anything similar to this. So I have been talking for really quite some time, but there was just so much to say. I'd had a week off and I had all these things I wanted to talk about. Oh, one last thing. Cover reveal. You might be wondering when that's going to happen. Much like the release date, get on the newsletter list and you will get it here first. YouTube will get it second. I've had the cover for this done for ages. I came across an artist on Instagram and I loved what she was doing, and I was like, hey, this is what I'm writing, what do you think? And she's like, I love this, I've got the perfect idea. And she came back super quickly, a few tweaks, and it was just spot on. If you have downloaded the free chapter from BookFunnel, the cover on there is not the cover. That is something I threw together in Canva, because BookFunnel basically needs you to upload your book cover, which is great if your book is published. Less so if it's not, because you don't really want to reveal your cover just through BookFunnel. You probably want to have some sort of song and dance about it. So the cover on the BookFunnel page to download the chapter is not the cover. I have put that in the description, but it's not the cover. No one has seen the cover. I will be reviewing the cover in a few weeks' time, getting closer to publication date, and I'm excited for everyone to see it. We have already come to an agreement about how the rest of the covers are going to work for a series, so that they all match, because I don't know about you, but I hate when there's a series and the covers, they're things like different sizes. I have a series where book 3 is a completely different size to book 1 and 2. I hate that. Or where the covers just don't go together very well at all, because maybe the person who wrote the first book wasn't able to secure that same cover artist for the books that followed, and they just don't quite fit. I wanted them all to have a similar vibe and the same font and color scheme, etc. I had it all envisioned, and the lovely Georgia, my cover artist, has been able to pluck that from my mind and has been able to secure that kind of idea for future books. So yeah, I will be excited to show that to you. I'm just really excited to have that moment where I get your author copy from Amazon once you've uploaded it to KDP, and just to have that book in my hands. That's the part I'm most excited for. Obviously I had that with my non-fiction, but this is different because it is a novel. You know, it's something that very few people get to achieve. Yes, indie publishing has made it easier to get your novel out there, but it hasn't necessarily made it any easier to actually write the thing at all. So I am excited for that moment of actually seeing that cover on my book in my hands, and I will definitely be sharing that moment with all of you. So those are all the updates that I have to share. As I said, if you want to be the first to know the publication date and to see the cover, go hit the subscribe to the newsletter button down below. If this is your first vlog and you're like, oh my goodness, there's a lot going on here, go check out some of the vlogs before and you will get a bit more information about Lunar Quartz Library. If I've sold you in this 20 minutes, I would love for you to also go check out the newsletter and read the first chapter for free. Thank you very much for staying with me through this very rambly 20 minutes. I just had a lot that I want to say and share with you. And because this is so long, I'm going to end this vlog here, and that also gives me a chance to start vlogging for next week when I have important information on the publication date to share with you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, you can hit the subscribe button for my channel. I upload a topic video every Tuesday and a vlog every Thursday. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.